It happened during a family gathering at my sister's house, where laughter filled the room and conversations overlapped like waves. I had always been known for my playful sense of humor, sometimes careless with words when I wanted to make people laugh. That evening, as we all sat around the table, I joked lightly about swapping my husband, if anyone was willing. The remark was meant to be nothing more than a tease, but the ripple it caused was far greater than I ever imagined. Everyone chuckled, waiting for my husband's usual shy smile or sarcastic comeback. But instead, he leaned back in his chair, glanced around the table, and then said something that froze the entire room. His voice was calm but sharp, as if it had been waiting for this moment. "Maybe you should," he said, "because at least then someone might actually value me more than you do." The laughter stopped instantly. Forks froze midair. My own smile fell apart as his words cut through the air. My husband, who rarely raised his voice or showed irritation, had delivered a reply that silenced everyone. My sister looked down, my cousins shifted awkwardly, and even my father cleared his throat nervously. The silence burned hotter than any insult I could have imagined. I wanted to dismiss it as another joke, but his eyes didn't leave mine. They weren't filled with anger, just disappointment. For the first time, I realized that my careless words had been piling up over the years, and this was his quiet revenge. Instead of shouting, instead of making a scene, he had chosen a single statement that left me stripped of my pride in front of everyone. The evening limped forward, but the light-hearted mood never returned. When we drove home, I tried to explain, tried to laugh it off, but he didn't respond. His silence was heavier than his words had been. That night, I lay awake realizing that his reply had been more than just a defense. It was a mirror, reflecting how poorly I had treated him without even noticing. The next day, whispers began to spread. My relatives, who once enjoyed my bold humor, now looked at me differently. They spoke kindly to him, more cautiously to me. It was as if his words had revealed something deeper, something they had perhaps already suspected. My careless remark had backfired, and the revenge of his calmness had left me isolated. I tried to fix it, cooking his favorite meals, apologizing over and over, but he remained distant. He wasn't cruel, he didn't argue, but his quietness spoke volumes. It was his way of reminding me that trust and respect, once cracked, are not easily repaired. My punishment wasn't a storm of anger, but the cold distance of a man who had finally stopped trying to prove his worth to me. Weeks passed, and my regret grew heavier. I watched him receive more respect from others than he ever had before. Friends called him strong, family praised his patience, and co-workers admired his composure. Meanwhile, I became the one everyone whispered about, the wife who mocked her own husband until his calm revenge silenced her. One evening, as we sat in the living room, I asked him directly if he still loved me. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked at me with tired eyes and said, "Love isn't the question. Respect is. And once respect is gone, love doesn't stand very long either." His words shattered me more than any fight could have. It was then that I realized revenge doesn't always come with shouting or anger. Sometimes it comes in the form of silence, in the form of dignity that shines brighter than any insult. My husband's quiet strength had not only silenced me but also made me face the truth of my own behavior. From that day I changed. Not because I feared losing him, but because I finally understood the weight of words and the power of respect. I stopped making careless jokes at his expense and started treating him as the man he truly was, worthy of value, honor, and love. His reply that night had been more than just a comeback. It had been a lesson, a warning, and a revenge that needed no noise. By leaving me to sit in the silence of my own thoughtlessness, he taught me what true strength looked like. Even years later, whenever family gatherings take place, no one dares to make such a joke again. People look at him differently, and they look at me with a reminder of what I almost lost. And every time I recall that night, I remember the quiet revenge that changed the way I spoke, the way I loved, and the way I respected the man I once joked about swapping. That single sentence, delivered with calm precision, became the sharpest weapon I had ever faced. And it left me with a truth I could never ignore again. Sometimes the strongest revenge is not fury, but silence.